Get 'em out. Welcome to the Badger Den. We have a fun-filled day of interesting things going on with illegals. It's going to be non-stop illegals today and showing you why we need to kick them all out. Every last one of them. Let's go. So, first off, you should stop noticing. Stop noticing what's happening regarding illegals and crime. This is happening across the board, and we're going to look at Germany right now. And these are all going to be stories involving serious crime with illegals. So, lefties, if you got blue hair and you're pulling it out right now, enjoy. I hope to see you bald by the end of it. Well, foreigners dominate in violent crime offenses on German public transportation. Yup. As the left wants more people taking public transportation because it's so green, while at the same time promoting open borders, which makes public transport more and more dangerous, the data has shown for years that migrants are sexually assaulting women, partaking in knife attacks, and generally making public transport hell for Germans. In 2024, one public system in Baden-Württemberg saw 30,950 individuals identified as suspects for various crimes, averaging 85 suspects per day. This figure did not include violations for immigration offenses, which can be committed only by foreigners, of which there are additional 20,339 violations. So in public transportation, 51,289 in a year. That's crazy. Foreigners found to commit 59% of all sexual crimes at German trains and train stations. 2/3. Sexual violence crimes have doubled between 2019 and 2024. Foreigners only make up 15% of Germans' population. That's just crazy. Can't believe foreigners make up 15% of Germans' population all. That's so sad. Significantly, foreigners also lead the statistics across all crime categories, including violent crime. Out of the 30,950 suspects for crime, 62% were non-German, compared to 38% for German suspects. Breaking it down by violent crime, this includes murder, manslaughter, rape, robbery, and other forms of bodily harm. 53% were non-German. Theft offenses, 64% were non-German. Drug offenses, 56% were non-German, and weapon offenses were 61% non-German. Meaning that non-Germans are 8.5 times to more criminally inclined. 8.5 more times to commit a serious offense. And you wonder where stereotypes come from. The Germans' Green Party is calling for women-only train cars. So we're now going to go, we're going to do what they want for Sharia law anyway, and break it up and allow women-only train car due to soaring assaults. I don't know why I'm muting myself now on that, because YouTube's already going to flag it because I said it earlier. In February, Iranian migrant Mohsen K. raped a 63-year-old woman on the U3 train line, sparking outrage. On the train. Since 2013, sexual assault crimes have jumped 260% in Berlin alone. Just what is going to happen? So, what are the Germans to do? Well, one German town has figured out a good solution. The Dutch don't like it. There's footage now showing a police van arriving at 4 a.m. parking briefly as a man is handed a suitcase and a large brown envelope and then left behind as the vehicle drives away. The police van drives away. This is now coming from a German who watched the video on their security cam. He sat outside for a few more hours, used my phone to charge his phone. We are less than 100 meters from the border here. The Dutch Ministry of Asylum and Migration confirmed to L1 News it was aware of such incidents and had admitted they have been occurring for years. A spokesperson stated there are two types of transfers of foreign nationals between Germany and the Netherlands. So-called hot transfers, where migrant is physically handed over between authorities, and cold transfers, in which no coordination takes place. They just drop them off after the border. This happened in an area classified because of the Schengen area. So if you're part of the EU and you're trying to act like the United States, guess what? That means you can travel supposedly between countries without a passport or documentation. This is not supposed to be true for immigrants. For immigrants, they're supposed to have paperwork. But this German municipality doesn't care. They're like, they're here, we're getting them out. Hey, look, the Dutch look friendly and they don't care how many they get. Let's give them to the Dutch. A German judge ruled in early June that such expulsions are unlawful, affirming that all individuals have the right to a fair asylum procedure. The Bundespolizei, the police of this area, however, maintain that it's actually acting within its rights. Good for that municipality. That particular case concerned 3 Somali nationals who arrived in Frankfurt on May 9th by train, only to be removed back to Poland by the German authorities despite having declared their intention to seek asylum. Good on them kicking them out. They know what they're doing. The police and the Royal Netherlands Mauritius are responsible for supervising the lawful residence of foreign nationals. Furthermore, it is up to the national governments to make mutual agreements about this, a spokesperson for the mayor stated. So he's basically saying, that's not my job, that's their job. I'm doing what I can for my people who live in my city. Good on him. This is setting up a collision course between the Dutch government and Berlin over such practices, specifically because the Dutch have now elected a political party that is much more strict on immigration, because this is happening all across Europe. All across Europe, you're seeing France fall, Germany fall, UK fall, Ireland fall apart. These European countries are falling apart due to mass migration. It is a complete invasion. When 15% of your population do not care about your language, your values, your culture, your country is going to fall apart. This is not sustainable if you're going to maintain your culture and your way of life. It's over. So, let's move on to Denver. Sounds like someone is doing a bad. The Denver City Council ends car theft tracking system to protect illegal immigrants. Yeah, got to protect the immigrants. Don't care about the citizens. The Denver City Council has voted unanimously to end a highly successful anti-theft auto license plate tracking system. The system was not closed due to concerns about privacy or finances. It was shut down because Democratic members believed that ICE could use the data to deport illegals. In May, the council refused to renew a $666,000 contract with Flock for camera monitors around 70 Denver intersections to screen for car theft. The system resulted in recovery of 170 stolen cars, 300 arrests. It also credited with key evidence in the investigation of a hit and run and murder cases. This is from Councilman Kevin Flynn in Denver. We know that it can help solve crime, but I think since maybe January 20th of this year, those concerns are greatly heightened and have a new reality about them. Councilmember Sarah Paraday announced, "We're living in an era where just this last week, actually, an executive order came out instructing the Department of Justice and the FBI to look for reasons to prosecute local elected officials and activists who believe to, quote unquote, obstruct ICE enforcement. This kind of surveillance technology is a gift if you have that kind of ill intent, and the federal government has that kind of ill intent." She just sounds pasty white, lives in a gated community. Mayor Mike Johnston also stated that they need to halt these arrests because today's environment is much different than when the pilot began in early 2024. There are new community concerns surrounding this technology. They all sound like they live in gated communities. By the way, the amount of cars alone this is caught that were stolen is 4.2 million in recovered assets, not counting the lives saved from potential stopping murderers and getting them off the street. Only imagine how many illegals could have gotten off the street and deported if they actually went along with that. And Sarah's right. It is, quote unquote, illegal to obstruct ICE. I hope they obstruct ICE and she sees a prison cell. Just wow. Just wow. The Biden administration just keeps on giving. We're now going to look at what else is happening in Colorado. I wanted a story directly coming out of Colorado concerning who and what these Colorado's people are protecting, the Colorado legislature, Colorado government is protecting. This came out after a illegal killed a woman and got off scot-free. 16-year-old illegal immigrant from Colombia received probation and community service after killing 24-year-old Caitlin Weaver in a high-speed crash in Aurora, Colorado. He was nabbed by federal immigration agents last week. ICE confirmed on Thursday that the illegal immigrant teen was arrested along with his family, who were also illegals. Last July, the Colombian teen plowed into Weaver's vehicle during driving 90 miles an hour in a residential area, according to authorities. Weaver, who was driving home from work, was talking to her speakerphone with her boyfriend at the time of the crash, was effectively killed instantly. This is regarding the ICE's field office blasting the apropos district attorney's court office. For the DA, 18th justice is no jail time and probation for this criminal alien who killed a young woman while driving more than 90 miles an hour. For ICE, justice is arrest and removal. A 16-year-old citizen of Colombia with a conviction of reckless driving resulting in death was arrested by ICE Denver officers last week and remain in ICE custody pending immigration hearing. The teen was also illegally driving his mother's uninsured vehicle, which his mother claims he took without permission. The juvenile also had other minors in his vehicle when he crashed into Weaver. The reason why this is critical to note is because this shows these people do not care about our laws. There's no insurance, so that means the death of this woman, there's no insurance coverage for this family. I mean, money's not going to make this family whole, but now they're not going to receive a dime for anything because they're illegal. What is he going to do? Sue them? They probably got very little to nothing. They're going to get deported. He's going to get nothing from them. And not only that, there's no insurance on this person because this person does not care about our laws. They don't care about our customs. They deserve what this person has done to this beautiful young lady. This 16-year-old deserves to be put in a catapult and launched into a rock wall. John Weaver, the father, said that the DA's office promised to pursue the maximum sentence for the teenager, which would have been only 2 years in a correctional facility, juvenile detention, under which new Democratic District Attorney Amy Padden, however, the illegal immigrant, was then offered only 2 years of probation if he pled guilty. So he was literally let off scot-free for killing somebody. The young lady, Weaver, Caitlin, worked at a drug rehab center, Aurora, and was always looking for ways to care for other people, according to her father. Before taking the job at the drug rehab center, Weaver volunteered for a suicide hotline. She was really trying to make a difference in the lives every day, her father stated. This is who you're protecting. Come on, blue hair. Explain this to me, why this is okay. Seems like we have a pattern in this next story. Another one in Nashville, hit and run. This one, thankfully, the man survived. These people were just released under Biden. They were just let in the country and let go. A man wanted over a hit and run in Nashville last month is an illegal alien from Venezuela. What did Venezuela do? They emptied their prisons and sent them here. He was released into the country by the Biden administration. The Department of Homeland Security confirmed Thursday. DHS stated that Tony Lopez Infante, who is suspected of driving his car into a Florida man celebrating his 21st birthday, illegally entered the country in August 2023. Lopez Infante is on the run after police say that he slammed into Zachary Karach with his vehicle on May 18th, sending him to the hospital with serious injuries. An illegal alien who should never have been in the U.S. allegedly struck a young man who was celebrating his 21st birthday in a hit-and-run crash and is still at large. The Biden admin released this illegal alien into our country in 2023, DH Secretary Tricia McLaughlin stated. This crime was preventable and is a direct result of the open border policies that prioritized illegal aliens over the safety of Americans. Damn right. After his apprehension, Lopez's apprehension at the border in August of 2023, Lopez was later released 2 weeks later into the country. Karach spent 5 days in Nashville hospital before he was transported to a hospital in Florida to continue his treatment. His legs and arms were seriously injured, requiring surgery to put screws, probably plates, into his left leg. He will be in a wheelchair for at least 2 to 3 months. You're not allowed to show video of violence on YouTube, so I'm only going to show the picture here. Here he is, being hit by the illegal, tossed into the air, now landing on the pavement. Can't imagine what kind of pain that caused, and not just pain in that moment, but lifelong pain this kid's going to have to deal with. Lopez will be charged with leaving the scene of a personal injury accident, failure to render aid in an accident report, attempt to evidence tampering, and driving without a license and insurance once he is apprehended. He also faces another charge related to an arrest over theft in Williamson County, a wealthy area south of Nashville. Once again, without insurance, this family and this child is now going to be left with medical bills that they have no recompense for because this illegal refuses to adhere to our laws. And guess what? Leftists support this. The local Nashville officials, including the Democratic Mayor Freddie O'Connell, have bashed the Trump admin's efforts to remove illegals from the streets. O'Connell pledged to support the creation of the Belonging Fund, intended to provide financial support to illegals after ICE partnered with Tennessee Highway Patrol to conduct traffic stops where they would apprehend nearly 100 illegals with criminal convictions or pending charges. Fantastic on the Tennessee Highway Patrol. Hats off to you guys. Good job. That's just disgusting. Mayor should be creating a fund for the damage that these illegals cause to American citizens. Imagine what the medical bills that family are now going to be foisted upon because this illegal chose to disregard that crosswalk and crash into this young man. Yeah, did you notice the crosswalk? I hope so. So are we noticing a trend now? Going into this next story, ICE seizes an illegal alien who tried to join ISIS after the Biden admin let him in. Sounds just delightful. ICE says the 35-year-old illegal alien from Colombia entered the U.S. in Lukeville, Arizona on July 14th of last year. He was entered in the removal proceedings, but was later released into the interior of the U.S. by the Biden admin. He then tried to join ISIS. Delightful. ICE learned from the DOJ in May that the Colombian illegal was in communication with a social media account that claimed to arrange travel and combat training for those who wanted to join the ISIS terror organization. He was arrested on May 22nd of this year in a joint effort between ICE and the FBI in Boston during Operation Patriot. Boston, a sanctuary city, a wider operation in the area that resulted in the arrest of nearly 1,500 illegal aliens in the region. Good job, guys. This Colombian alien entered the country illegally and was released under the Biden admin. He went on to engage with an ISIS recruiter, an ICE spokesman stated. News of the arrest comes just after ICE arrested a suspected member of Al-Qaeda late last month in Philadelphia. That man, a Tajikistan-born Russian national, entered the U.S. by way of California in 2023 and similarly was paroled into the interior of the U.S. under the Biden administration despite not having an immigrant visa. Tajikistan warned that the illegal alien is a fugitive and thought to have ties to a criminal organization. He's now pending removal. Just days before the arrest came public, a different illegal, this one Egyptian national, injured several people in a firebombing terrorist attack against a pro-Israeli demonstration in Boulder, Colorado. An update on that story, I believe the elderly woman who was injured in that has now passed away. The Biden administration not only witnessed a drastic surge in the number of terror suspects who attempted to enter the U.S., but also attempted to cover up the surge, one former BPC charged last year, the Border Patrol chief. In San Diego, we had an exponential increase in significant interest aliens. These aliens with significant ties to terrorism, the former Chief Patrol Officer Aaron Heek said during a hearing with Homeland Security Committee in September. Prior to this administration, the San Diego sector averaged only 10 to 15 SIA arrests per year. Once word was out the border was far easier to cross, San Diego went to over 100 SIAs in 2022, well over that in 2023, and even more was registered this year. Again, in the stream yesterday, how many terrorists are now in this country? How many Islamic extremists are now in this country? And what do we have now but a fatwa issued on President Trump? The Biden administration has barred him from publicly discussing these drastic increases. At the time, I was told I could not release any information on this increase in SIAs or mention any of the arrests. The administration was trying to convince the public there was no threat at the border. Some terror suspects were actually let into the country. The Biden administration even paroled hundreds of terrorists into the interior of the U.S., Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard explained in April. So who are they trying to protect? They're trying to protect people like Kilmar Abrego. Abrego is now back in the country. He is in prison, and they've already stated they will deport him again after they try him for illegal human trafficking and probably child trafficking too. So after they parade him around, show what evil the left is trying to perpetuate and protect in this country, they will then deport him again, hopefully to Sudan. So if the deep state is funding the NGOs protecting the illegals and CNN is helping the illegals, what does that make CNN? An arm of the deep state? Probably. We'll get into the CNN part. I'm trying to receive some feedback about focusing on the story and then going into my commentary. Trying. Two primary incentives exist: government welfare handouts and subsidies, and under-the-table wages, which are wired back to their country of origin, where wages buy far more than they do in the U.S. The first issue being dealt with on the federal level, though blue states are insisting on trying to thwart this through their own welfare policies, often funded through back channels using federal money and NGOs. The second issue requires more direct involvement, which Congress is unlikely to support, greatly increased fines for businesses, and hire non-citizens. Recent reports indicate that immigration raids at workplaces have had a chilling effect on local businesses, speaking about LA, with many forced to close up shop because their foreign employees are afraid to show up and work. First, this is proof that far too many businesses in blue cities, sanctuary states, are giving American jobs to migrant workers, often for 30% less wages than native-born employees who expect to receive. This is simply a fact that the U.S. labor market are being throttled by illegals who are driving down wages while also driving up demand in prices and goods and services. There are an estimated 2 million illegals living in LA, according to a 2022 survey, but there's no way knowing the exact numbers given the Biden admin allowed at least 7.3 million of them into the country over the course of the last 4 years. Progressive governments have also made a habit of hiding true immigrant numbers. Census data does not include the immigration status of the population counted, which allows California to eat up a large number of electoral votes, even though millions of people in the state should not be there. NGO-funded activist groups have attempted to foment riots in an effort to interfere with deportations. This tactic has generated little success. Such groups are now turning to a new method, which includes funding for necessities handed out to illegals while they avoid workplaces and potential encounters with ICE. Handouts cannot compensate for the dollars they collect from their homes and the same cash they send to their family across the border in order to create a nest egg for early retirement. Their purpose is to feed off the American system, not simply stay within the country doing nothing. At bottom, most illegals will be inclined to leave the U.S. on their own over the next couple of years if going to work means a constant risk of forced deportation. Now, give me a commentary. This is why the SALT is so important from yesterday. The SALT is where those blue states that are giving all this welfare money to illegals are counted off your federal taxes. This is why SALT is awful. This is why it should not be in either of the big, beautiful bills, which, to note, has now passed Senate and is going toward the House. I commented the other day that the Senate bill, which is the uglier of the two, would probably get passed, unfortunately. They should also be increasing fines, which was in the big, beautiful House bill. The commie riots, as we saw, there are communist supporting riots of illegals that are part of La Raza, which is a Hispanic supremacy group. All this is being supported by NGOs. Good job, lefties. Get them out, get them out. Homeland Security ends temporary protected status for 500,000 Haitians. Fantastic. We got to save those cats and dogs, guys. The DHS on Friday said it is terminating the deportation shield for more than 500,000 Haitian nationals who entered the U.S. under the Biden administration. 521,000 Haitians earlier this year will terminate their status on September 2nd. Supreme Court ruled on May 19th that Trump admin could proceed with ending TPS for Venezuelans. On May 30th, they then said the administration could immediately revoke a separate status known as parole for Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans. We're going to see more getting kicked out, hopefully. TPS should take advantage of the department's resources in returning to Haiti, which can be arranged through the CBP Home app, referring to self-deportation efforts that were launched by Trump and men this year. And they get an extra like $1,000. Help send them home. So what are our options, guys? Option one, they'd self-deport, which is hopefully what they're trying to do. Roughly 1 million illegal immigrants have left the U.S. since January the month President Trump returned to office, according to a new study by the CIS, the Center for Immigration Studies. Targeting large cities, the ICE raids with so-called sanctuary policies and resuming operations at farms, hotels, and other businesses have probably pushed illegals to want to leave, or they're hiding, per that prior story. 11 million to more than 30 million, depending on the source and methodology, are estimated to be within the country. DHS estimates that 11 million illegal immigrants were in the country as of January 2022. President Trump has said that the figure could be as high as 21 million, while Secretary of State Rubio suggests that the number could be up to 30 million. CBP reported 0 illegal immigrants being released in the U.S. In a June 17th statement, the agency called the development a staggering drop from more than 62,000 illegal immigrants that released in May 2024. These go back to those prior stories where Biden administration was just letting out illegals into the country to commit crime. CBP also stated that just 8,725 illegal immigrants crossed the southwest border between ports of entry last month, 93% decline from May 2024 when agents recorded 1,117 encounters. Good job, guys. Lock that border down. An option 2, we open up Alligator Alcatraz. I'm sure you guys have heard about it. I just want to make you smile. Imagine a bunch of alligators around a prison, and that's where we should send them. Just, the prison's not big enough, in my opinion. So, Alligator Alcatraz is open for business. The facility is expected to have space for about 5,000 illegal aliens, is expected to be operational this week, and will include a laundry facility, air conditioning, and medical care. It will be paid for in part by FEMA funds that were used under the Biden administration to house illegal aliens in hotels. Speaking of that, it's estimated that Biden spent $6,000 per month per illegal to help house them in New York City hotels. Man, imagine how many mortgage payments that is. It's estimated it'll take them 10 to 12 hours to make the city on foot. Not true. Having been a prolific hiker through rough terrain, that is not true. Maybe 10 to 12 hours if they hoofed it through this itty bitty road to get back to the city. If they're actually hoofing it through the Everglades, which they would have to in order to try to avoid detection, because they can't just use the road, they're illegals and they're criminals, try doubling that time. It would probably take them a day and a half, maybe 2 days to try to hoof it through there. And with helicopters and dogs, they'll be caught pretty quick. The Everglades is home to several predators, perhaps most notably the American alligator, which can grow up to 15 feet long and weigh up to 1,100 pounds. There have been reports they can reach 16 feet or more and be even larger. So, 15 feet is pretty scary. The average length is like 12 feet and 800 pounds. That is still scary big, and I wouldn't want to mess with one. There's also Burmese pythons, which can grow up to 20 feet long. They're not going to really attack them and kill them, but they can give you a very nasty bite with their teeth. And there are also black bears and Florida panthers. So let's hope that they decide to run out and save us some taxpayer money. Well, guys, that's all I've got for today. I know it was a long one, but it was a fun one. And I hope you blue-haired liberals learned something today. This is Malvi, signing off.